This is part 6 of 13 of our response to Stephen Hargrave's message in the COGR's Revelation series.
Well, the apostles are your leaders, and then the question becomes, who are we led by? So Stephen sets up a straw man argument against those who want to follow Jesus.
I say something else? Somebody's going to lead you. Can I say something else? Who leads you is going to be a man.
Right.
Can I say something else? Because you can't avoid it unless you're not a person.
Uh-huh.
All of those that are not human, you can avoid what I'm saying. But if you're a person, somebody is going to tell you what to do.
Disagree. Why would you sit there and have to think that? They have another turn of phrase that's more common. You got to worship something. You got to worship something. Somebody's going to tell you what to do.
The thing that is disingenuous about it is he's not really following through with this point. He said, well, somebody's going to lead you, but he doesn't ever really say much about who should be leading you. And then he says something to the effect of, it's not your mother or not your daddy kind of thing. And as he's saying that, he's basically saying that they should be leading us, and that we shouldn't be depending upon Jesus. But I can accept the fact without any difficulty that there are spiritual people. It's like, I don't know you that well, Ben. I'm way over down here and you're way up there. But you may be a spiritual individual, and it may be that you're somebody that I should follow because you have insight into God. And I'm not opposed to the idea that if you're a spiritual person and I can see the trajectory of your life, that we may want to be in relationship. And you may lead me a little bit, I may lead you a little bit, but something good is going to come out of that. But that's not what they're really talking about. They're talking about an organization that is totalitarian in every way. They're talking about, apostles who are micromanaging. They're talking about apostles who can't be questioned. They're talking about people who will tell people to sit down, shut up, and just listen and do what they're told to do. So what I'm suggesting is that, we may be led by a man, but we're darn well going to make sure that that is a good man who's leading us. We have the ability to choose people with spiritual maturity to relate ourselves to. We're not stuck with them.
Right.
So,
and that man is not granted any kind of infallibility, or his jurisdiction in my life doesn't extend to the way that I sleep with my wife.
No.
It's just a complete non sequitur to think that because even if you're a prophet, that you have the right to tell me all the minutia of my life and control that for me.
No, goodness, no. I think we share some libertarian views in that regard. A pastor, a minister, a good spiritual person is somebody who's going to come alongside and nurture you, help you, but they're not ever going to try to control you, because that's wrong. We don't control people, not in that manner, I don't think.
Yeah, well, what's the point? Spiritually, the point of being a pastor is you have to have enthusiastic cooperation from a parishioner, from a soul. It's not, the point isn't obedience, which again is one of Paul's big thrusts of his theology, is that we're not beholden to these written rules and all these thou shalt nots and stuff like that. I'm trying to get you to have a personal spiritual experience and
relationship,
become a different person, not outwardly, not being a whitewashed tomb, but to be born again. And this sort of thinking is antithetical to that. It trains people to look at spirituality as obedience and as allegiance. And you miss the entire purpose of the New Testament, frankly, if you get sidetracked by that.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Kelly?
And the COGR very much, they want you to have an experience, but the experience they want you to have, so they want you to have a vision. You need to have a vision. And if you don't have a vision, you better start praying a little bit more and praying with the apostles and asking God to give you this vision, even though the visions only relate to the apostles,
Right.
what they tell you, but they want you to have a vision of their apostles finding themselves in prophecy. They say this all the time. We found ourselves in prophecy, and you need to have the same vision we have. And that vision is us sitting on those thrones, messianic seats here, and judging the world. If you
Right.
don't have that vision, you're not saved.
That's right. And it's the most important thing because everything else flows from that. I asked Ray about this the last time that we spoke, and the main point of contention there was that people shouldn't have to have your thoughts. He said, you just want people to think like you think. No, I want people to think like they think. I think every person should have the right to have their own opinions,
Yes.
to pursue their own happiness, and they shouldn't be beholden to your opinion. What makes your opinion so great? The question that is begged here by Steve's question, he says anybody that's a man is going to be led by a man. Who's leading him? Who's leading Ray? Why does it stop there? It's nonsense. They're capable of having a direct relationship with God, interpreting scripture, making decisions about what's healthy for them and their families. Why do they think that is their power alone?
And why don't people ask that question?
Why would anyone else not ask that question?
Yeah.
Well, they have said the reason why we are the end time apostles and what separates us from anybody else out there who claims to be an apostle is that we've been anointed by Jesus.
Right. They're
But
special and chosen.
Prove that.
Prove that.
Yeah.
Prove that. The proof is in prophecy.
Yes. And you don't have that vision. So therefore,
Yeah.
We can't see that. So yeah.
If prophecy can be read from scripture, then the proof is not in prophecy. Let me assure you, it ain't there.
That's a good point.
It's a mumble word. It doesn't mean anything.
No.
Yeah.
Can't pin it down.
And that's worth considering, because what a cult does, or what groups like that do, is they control the language, and the language does confuse things and give them power in that confusion.
Newspeak. That's what Orwell called it.
Newspeak, yeah.
And it will be interesting because this is the thesis theoretically of the study that he's still in the preamble toward. He said, next week we'll get to the revelation. Finally, I don't even frankly know why we had this speech. I don't know even knowing their interpretation of the revelation, I'm not sure why he spent an hour doing this topic. But in prophecy, theoretically, we're going to see how they interpret the revelation. And that is where we should have our proof. It's that apparent.
Yeah.
Do not hold your breath.
Yeah, I'm skeptical. I've been through these studies before.
Yes. And when you ask who leads them, I'm pretty sure they would say that the Lord leads them. Right. Because he's anointed them. He's given them the vision, the cutting edge understanding. So they don't need anything above and beyond that. And that their job is then they claim that they're the end time saviors.
Yeah. Shakespeare said, I'm too highborn to be propertied. Which I think is great. No, it was, who wrote Walden Pond? Thoreau. That's a Thoreau. Too highborn to be propertied.
Yeah.
Every single one of us is.
This concludes our video. Thank you for joining us. The resource slides go by rather quickly for sake of time. You may wish to pause on them to read them. There is a link in the description box to the Google Classroom where you will find the resources for this video. Disappointment is a bitter pill to swallow, paying back the hope I borrowed from someone I never knew. And it's a forfeit, humans in the suits of heroes, undressed by whispered conspiracies in quest for the truth. But if
So tell me, do you really still believe that the truth will set you free?